So we are over at Tandava Retreats in Tepoztlan in Mexico. I am here with Joelle and Victoria from Kaivala Collective. Hi guys, how's it going?
Hey, so good. Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having me here. I'm so excited to be here, you guys. I really do appreciate everything that you are doing in the space. I think that it's so great to be able to feature such skilled and practitioners like yourselves on Psychedelic Spotlight.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thanks.
Very glad to have you here.
Thanks. Yeah. So, how has everything been going for you lately?
Pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. It's been really wonderful to open our flagship center here. We just opened a few months ago, and really just getting to see all the different nurturing tidbits we can put into the container, and all that, and all the results coming from it, and just getting to see so many beautiful souls coming through the center has just been absolutely rewarding and really amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's wonderful. So I'd love to know a little bit more just about your own experiences with 5-MeO-DMT. So what has drawn you to 5-MeO specifically? What's its significance in your life, and why do you feel as though it is such a powerful healer?
Yeah, I can start first with that. So, I think a lot of us are called to this path through our own suffering, and that usually starts at an early age. And I really dealt with a lot of separation stuff, the stuff that comes along with it, with depression, and that depression, turned suicidal in my teenage years. And so, yeah, it was just very difficult, very tumultuous in that time. I started using psychedelics recreationally, like most of us do for the first time. And then, started experiencing other things like ayahuasca at 19 and doing different medicines for over a decade. And then I found 5. Mm-hmm. And 5 was, it was amazing. And, for somebody who struggled with separation so much in my life, so much to the point where I felt deeply depressed and lonely and all of that, feeling wholeness, feeling oneness within myself, bringing myself back to home, back to my remembrance of who and what I really am, and who and what everything really is. We're all God. It really just opened up something amazing within me. And I see this medicine as a huge potential to really change the world in a big way, in a really, really big way, because, I think what humanity is suffering from is that separation at our core. There is a deep disconnect. And this medicine allows us to remember our wholeness again. So if we can all remember our wholeness, all remember where we come from in our totality, things can change. Our perspectives change, the way that we show up in the world change, the way we see ourselves and others changes. And so, yeah, this medicine it's a big one, and it's here at the exact perfect time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, perfect time indeed. I really feel that 5-MeO-DMT is the medicine for this day and age, because one, this medicine has no one lineage that can claim it. It has no one group of people that can say, hey, this is our medicine and it needs to be done like this. With 5-MeO-DMT, the peak experience is beyond anything that the mind can describe. It goes beyond the realms of any specific spiritual practice or any specific philosophy. That experience is just beyond anything that we can put language to. So it invites us to all really work together. It invites us to explore our own spirituality in a raw and authentic way without being bound by kind of dogmatic structures of religion or specific spiritual groups. And my experience with 5-MeO-DMT, I was a lifelong psychonaut, came from a very tumultuous past as well. Came up in DC when it was murder capital of the world, and it was crazy times, and I was no stranger to all the knuckleheadry and all the chaos. And I found my healing through yoga, meditation, and through medicines. And when I reapproached 5-MeO-DMT, it was it was that full mystical experience, that those parts of me that, just like Victoria said, still felt separate, still felt alone in some ways, were completely brought into perspective. And I really feel that when held in a right container and when integrated properly, this medicine can have tremendous effects and can be a huge aid in this global awakening that we're experiencing. We're all experiencing a very big falling away right now, but if anyone who understands the death process knows that rebirth comes after, and we're just on for the ride now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love hearing you guys talk about Five. I feel like you have such a passion for it, and it really does kind of shine through your own work here at the retreat, and just all of the work that you have kind of had done up until this point. I'd love to know a little bit about your process with kind of distributing Five, kind of the safe container that you have created here. Let our audience know, what exactly could they expect if they were to come here.
Gotcha. Want me to get that one?
Yeah.
All right. So, our process involves a very hands-on preparation and integration. We love to begin working with participants 1 to 2 weeks before they arrive. We start with medical screening and intake, making sure, one, that they're safe and sound to work with this medicine. The last thing we want to do is harm someone with this medicine. So after we've established that baseline, then we get into understanding what's driving them to come to the medicine. Some people are on spiritual exploration. Some people are working on treatment-resistant depression. Some people are suffering from PTSD and may have no interest in the spiritual aspect. And we're here to meet them where they're at, rather than drawing them into a specific philosophical lens. So during the preparation process, we get to find out what they're bringing to the table. Find out in which ways we can make you feel most safe and comfortable here. Find out the ways where we can get into the internal patterning, what languages you're comfortable with, what types of, we call them lenses, different outlooks that you're comfortable with, and begin to get into the process of self-inquiry. Upon arrival at the center, we do different containers. We offer a Thursday to Sunday container and a Tuesday to Sunday container now. And depending on which one you're on, you can expect 2 to 3 medicine sessions throughout your week here. And the medicine sessions are done in different ways. The first medicine session, we really like to get in there with that full experience, have that full grandiose mystical experience. And from there, it's about seeing what comes up. This medicine doesn't fix anything. It doesn't just make problems go away, but it certainly brings our patterning to light. Because if we experience a full dissolution of self, we get to watch those parts as they come back, because the assumed self may disappear, but our omnipresent awareness stays present. So there is this awareness of our own individual patterning as it comes back online, and that allows us much deeper perspective into our own process. And from there, the rest of the week is filled up with integrative practices that range from ancient techniques, yoga, meditation, etc., all the way to neurofeedback. And we really find this kind of clinical meets mystical way to approach it really, in my opinion, is the only way to approach it. If we try and stick too far to one side, we're losing some part of it. And this experience is a very big, vast, total experience. And the mystical experience does not exclude science nor spirituality. It really involves them both. And many people are leaning one way or another. And the less we can kind of say, hey, this is this experience, and more let them experience it as it is, the better we can really work with them. And so, the other medicine experiences may be something like multiple rounds of lower doses, working with specific intentions, maybe other things like that. And then, of course, soaks in the hot tub, steams in the steam room, crystal bowl sound baths, all the good stuff. And then afterwards, it's all about the integration, because this medicine experience by itself fades quickly. As the experience is so far beyond the mind, it fades away like a dream, once the mind comes back online, once that default mode network gets a firm hold back on things. So it really helps us to use an aftercare integration process to unpack the experience and to see how we can draw something that is purely ineffable and make sense of it in our daily life. And so participants then have at least 4 sessions with an integration specialist from our team afterwards, and that works remotely. And then we do another integration call with them after that to see how everything is going and see if we can be of any more assistance. But really the most important thing is providing a safe container, providing a safe, nurturing container where people can feel comfortable to completely lose control if that's what their mind is telling them is about to happen, where they can feel safe to step up to the plate to engage in the most confronting experience a human can step up to the plate to do. This is by all means a death and rebirth experience, and it deserves an honorable container.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I absolutely agree, and I think you guys have really built that here. Just spending the past couple of days with you and experiencing the medicine, it's been such an honor for me, really.
Us too.
Yeah, thanks guys. Yeah, it's been really, really kind of transformative in a sense. I would love to kind of know, what would somebody expect from this medicine that they wouldn't be able to get maybe from another ayahuasca, psilocybin combo, etc.
Yeah, I can kind of speak to that a little bit. So it is quite different from other medicines in many different ways. One being that the mind is present with all the other medicines, we still have a sense of I, we still have a sense of you and me and this and that. And with 5-MeO-DMT, it cuts through the mind. All of the default mode network goes down and we lose our senses, our sense of self, and we merge with the infinite. And so it's very different. And, you know, even the integration process is different with this. Because, you know, if you are able to still have an I within the medicine experience, there's content to pull out, a lot of content to pull out, and then work with that in your integration phase and period. Where 5-MeO, a lot of the time people come out and they're like, wow, that was amazing. I felt so much love, but I don't really remember that much more than love and all pervasive everything. And, you know, that's the medicine. But within 5-MeO-DMT in that integration phase, most of the content comes by virtue of the integration phase. It all comes back, and like we always talk about the 5-MeO experience, like throwing the grenade into your subconscious mind, where, you know, in the integration process, everything that's been suppressed down for so long, it starts to come up to the surface to be looked at and to be worked through. So yeah, that's a little bit about that. Do you want to say anything else on that?
You know, really, yeah, just as Victoria said, what makes it stand out is that ineffability, that sense that there is not an individual self. You know, when that part of the brain goes down and our entire sense of egoic identity dissolves away, what's on the other side of that type of individual death? You know, that is the grand mystical experience that has been sought after and explained for millennia and has been reached through so many different ways. And it is big. It is big, and it is undescribable, and it is impossible for the mind to compartmentalize. And so we found that it certainly does stand out as what some call the crown jewel of the entheogenic kingdom. Yeah.
That's a beautiful way to describe it. Yeah, it's the ultimate experience of all experiences in a sense, right? Who would you say is the ideal person to try this medicine? I know that you mentioned that some people are seeking different things, but who would you say is like well suited to be prepared for this kind of journey?
Yeah, we can both kind of take that one, I think. I think somebody, like, we feel that this experience is a birthright for every human being. It is so important for us to remember our wholeness, and there's so many different ways to get to this experience, but it really takes somebody being ready to jump in there. It can't be somebody whose friend is like, hey, you really have to do this, like, this is what happened to me and it was amazing, so this is for you. It just, it really needs to come from that inner calling within the heart of, hey, I'm really feeling called to this medicine. I'm going to step up to the plate for it.
Yeah. And I would say, you know, really the main thing that we look for is a willingness to surrender. That is the main thing that's needed, not an extensive psychedelic resume, not, you know, anything else, but really a willingness to surrender. Not even the act of surrender is needed, but someone has to be willing to surrender everything they think they know about themselves, everything they think they know and understand about everything. You know, it's because again, this experience transcends all of it. And so that's really the main thing that we look for. I would say who it's not suited for, depending on how a practitioner is resourced, you know, we certainly advise against people serving, you know, people with complex PTSD, if there's not a container with therapists that are very involved in understanding of this process. Where, you know, it's probably not the best medicine for someone suffering from OCD, you know, excessive OCD. Except if in working alongside a therapist who might specialize in that. It is probably not suitable for someone who is very, very, very attached to who they are and what they think this is, and is not willing to budge on that. You know, someone who is very firmly set in their ideals and doesn't have a lot of wiggle room, that can cause turbulence in the integration process. And so we certainly do turn people away. We certainly do let people know during the process, hey, this is, you know, just how big it is, and really what the implications of a non-dual experience can be. So significant, and it certainly isn't, I would say, for everybody, but it is our birthright, I think, to, you know, feel ready to step up to that incredible experience, you know. So once again, really appreciate you sharing that with me. It's just, it's really unbelievable. I think, you know, unfortunately there's just so much rhetoric in the psychedelic space about how the 5-MeO-DMT experience, or, you know, the space itself is not very safe. You know, and I think that that's such a shame. I would really love to know your opinion on why you think that is, and how can we make sure that that narrative changes moving forward? I'm fond of this one.
We're both fond.
It's
a loaded question.
I can just, I'll say a little bit about this medicine is fairly new with us human beings, and there's no wisdom, tradition, or lineage or ancestors that are passing it down to facilitators who are holding this medicine. And so there are facilitators just kind of, running around who found this online or maybe only had an experience with it once and think that it's like appropriate to start serving other people without, jumping into the work and having a deeper relationship with the medicine, learning proper contraindications, all that kind of stuff. And so things can get very messy, particularly, I'm under the strong opinion that if you're serving this medicine, you should have a background in integration, because anybody can hold the pipe. A 10-year-old can hold the pipe for somebody, but it's really, for a facilitator to be a facilitator, you need to be able to walk somebody to, through, and from the experience. And what happens afterwards from a 5-MeO-DMT experience, this is the biggest medicine there is. It is huge, and so much can come up. Traumas, memories we didn't even know about from, when we were little kids, and it's big stuff. And so if you're gonna crack somebody open, maybe you're traveling through a town, you come and give someone a pipe, and then you leave, and there's no preparation, no integration, and this stuff starts to come up, and they have no one to turn to. You can feel like you're going crazy, like you're totally alone, everything is crumbling around you, and then suddenly it's pretty traumatic for the person, and it can actually cause PTSD. So yeah, that's just one part of it.
Yeah, and another important part is, just like Victoria said, this medicine needs to be integrated afterwards, and if it's not, the ego can quickly make an identity out of it. And especially if someone serves someone else a pipe and that person has a full mystical experience, comes out and looks at the practitioner like they're Jesus. And like, wow, you just did this for me. No, we pointed at a door. It took, all of the participants' bravery to step up to the plate. But most practitioners are not doing their work. They're not properly integrating what they're doing, and therefore we get messiah complexes. We get people filming ceremonies and posting them on YouTube and Instagram. We get people, it turns into peak chasing. It turns into advertising by shock, things like that. And so, you look online and you see videos of people being served in the sand, people being served standing up. You hear about all types of crazy stuff going on and a lot of malpractice happening. And it's very, very disturbing. And that's, really our main mission and why Victoria is launching the 5 platform. As it's definitely really needed to have a centralized hub of information and resources for this medicine. You look online, most places you see, people just talk about how blissful it is and how amazing it is, and there's not a lot of information about, hey, this could be a complete hell experience for you. And so we have people reach out all the time, who may have got their hands on some, via ordering some off, somebody online or something like that, or just cowboy practitioners traveling through the States or traveling through wherever, just cracking people open and then leaving. People reach out to us regularly like, hey, my whole life is falling apart and I don't know what happened, I don't know what's going on. And it's very important that there's resources and support for these people. It's very important that there's going to be a place where you can go and read about how impactful this experience can be, both positively and or negatively. It's really important that the whole truth is out there and all the information is out there, and then solutions for it. So resources such as qualified integration specialists who are familiar with the 5-MeO process. Because to work with this medicine, you have to be familiar with this process. It always gives me a slight giggle when I see companies approaching 5-MeO-DMT, and companies that I know are not experienced in the medicine, and they're saying that it's more scalable, because it's a shorter acting medicine. We know from experience that it is much more involved, much more time is needed for preparation and integration. And we're going to see unfortunately, I have a feeling we'll see a lot of kind of bad experiences come from that untrained kind of aspect. And I would say that'd be about it.
No, for sure. I mean, there's so much to that, right? There's just a lot, I think, to unpack in this world. And I'm so happy that we were able to kind of go through that process together because, as I was mentioning to you, I initially came into this experience with a lot of resistance and not really knowing how to navigate it. But I think through that preparation process that you have really, really emphasized as important throughout this experience, I think that really kind of got me ready for what to expect, even though you have no idea what's going to happen in that moment, right? But asking those questions, creating that safe physical container with a set and setting, it really is everything. And I just find it kind of mind-blowing to think that there are people that are doing this in unsafe environments, because this really is the biggest experience I think you can have as a human. It's not called the God molecule for no reason.
Exactly. And you know, let's say you're in a clinical setting or something like that, and I've got no issues with the clinical setting, but when they're completely trying to remove any aspect of the mystical, this can be problematic with this medicine. Let's say you've just had a full mystical experience, and this peak experience on 5 is undeniably mystical. It is a full religious experience. You can understand where every religion was pointing at, where every spiritual practice was aiming at. And to have this, but it's so far beyond the mind that the mind struggles for context, that person's going to need something more than, oh, that was your serotonin 5-HTOA receptor. It can feel like unity. It's very big, and it needs geographies and context. And Victoria, her area of expertise is also the hero's journey, and the hero's journey acts as a great geography for this. It's a transcultural geography that can provide a footing in what can be a very unnerving situation. And so having some sort of context, and it doesn't need to be, my lens is the yogic lens, and it doesn't need to be me dragging, hey, this is Nirvikalpa Samadhi, and this is, how we do it. The hero's journey works as a great framework for any type of participant without a specific type of belief structure. And so thank you for that.
Yeah, definitely.
And thank you, Joseph Campbell.
Thank you, Joseph Campbell. Yeah, I'd love to hear more from you, Victoria, just about the hero's journey, as well as 5, just in general. You're speaking a little bit on that harm reduction approach that you are hoping to bring into the 5-MeO space, or just the psychedelic space in general, I think. Please let me know a little bit more about why you're drawn to that.
Yeah, absolutely. So first I can kind of talk about the hero's journey a little bit. As Joel says, this is a very big experience, and it's important for us to be able to help people through and from the experience. So how do you do that if you can't explain the mystical to them? You can't tell someone what the mystical experience is. You have to experience it yourself. And so putting it into words for people when they're coming to have this experience can be quite tricky. What's perfect is that the entheogenic experience with this medicine overlies perfectly with Joseph Campbell's hero's journey. There is a human being who has been called by something to learn their true nature. And so there's that call to adventure. And there's the meeting of the mentor, which is actually themselves. But we use the medicine as a tool to open up that doorway to find out that you are the mentor, that you are the whole time you were the guru. And so there's a crossing of the threshold where you take in the medicine, you have all of those fears coming up, you have to step into that hero archetype within yourself to journey into that supernatural realm where there's so much in there that we're faced with inside the medicine experience as you experienced, There can be so many different layers, different thresholds, there can be bliss and ecstasy beyond your wildest dreams, and there can be shadows. And it's all really a play between the relationship between resistance and surrender within there. And so, just really helping people have the proper geography to navigate that, to know how to surrender and to allow, and really bring that elixir, that remembrance of who and what we are back with us into our ordinary life within this whole hero's journey, and then really just integrate it in. And so that's what we use here. Joel is always interweaving it with yogic philosophy. Our other facilitators who have backgrounds in alchemy and stuff, we use all of those, but then just using the hero's journey is kind of that framework, so that anybody who's coming to work with this medicine, no matter what spiritual background or maybe lack of spiritual background they're from, they really have a good footing. Mm-hmm. And then 5, I'm so excited about 5. So 5 stands for 5-MeO DMT Information and Vital Education. And this is going to be a platform for everybody, for the community, for seekers who are interested in, stepping to the plate with doing this medicine. It's going to be for facilitators who are wanting to just get some more information on their practices, practitioner refinement courses. There's going to be a year-long training program on it. And then, just really for anybody, and even psychonauts who are really experienced with the medicine as well, just having an information space here. And so our aim is really to provide awareness towards 5-MeO DMT, because we want to start shifting the narrative away from this medicine being a dangerous medicine. Mm-hmm. Because it's not a dangerous medicine. It is a powerful tool for transformation if we're using it correctly, if we're using it with safety and ethics and integrity. And so essentially this platform, it's very big. It's going to have everything you could possibly imagine on 5MEO, from trip reports, podcasts, documentaries, 5MEO DMT integration specialists, pages on integration and how to integrate yourself, and information, FAQs, like it's endless really. And so if you can't find what you're looking for on that page, there's also going to be a support contact us page, so you will be able to get your answer essentially. Yeah, it's gonna be amazing.
Yeah, and it's just so needed. There's just nothing like that for 5MEO right now, and it's kind of been in cowboy territory for a while. And so bringing some structure to this is very essential. The experience itself is boundless. And yet we can't fully bring boundless here. If we just try and bring it boundless here, we end up with, 4 or 5 day training sessions being advertised on Instagram and, all types of just muckery. And really, this is a response to what we've been seeing in the community. What we've seen from a lot of the community has, been pretty scary over the past few years. And especially from the ones making a lot of noise. There's a lot of amazing underground practitioners of this medicine. But unfortunately, what the public is seeing is the ones that are posting themselves on Instagram and filming their videos on YouTube and things like that. And that's generally not the best approach. If someone's advertising their practice on YouTube and serving people in the sand and all types of other dangerous things, we can generally expect they're not holding a very solid container. And so this is going to be leading by example. And this platform isn't about us. This platform is about the medicine and about the community. So we've brought in, so many different leaders from the 5MEO community. Our mentors who have been, serving this medicine for decades are, on the underground, and so many different people from spiritualists to scientists who have different understandings. And it's much needed. So we're very much looking forward to that launch. And Victoria's been working tirelessly on this platform. And it's gonna have a good dent, and it's really going to help kind of steer away, just like you said, steer this narrative away from 5MEO being a wild cowboy medicine. And hey, this is a very, very useful tool when used properly and when used safely, but everything is needed to go into it, and that's why our approach is that kind of Western meets Eastern, that spiritual to scientific, bringing in all aspects, because it's not about us, it's about the participant. And everyone has their own path to surrender. Everyone has their own unique individual path, and we're here to meet them where they're at.
Yeah, you're doing a great job of that, guys. You really are. I think, it's so incredible that you're able to kind of consider that entire component of things and really kind of gear this whole experience to the individual and their belief system and what they need. That's so rare, that's such a great addition, I think, to all of this. And I guess I kind of wanted to, hear a little bit on the kind of more business side of everything that's going on right now. So you mentioned you are kind of currently tackling 5. You have Tandava Retreats, which is where we currently are, what we're doing, what we're in the process of doing right now. Can you maybe describe a little bit more on what's going on under the umbrella of Kaivalya Collective?
Absolutely. So Kaivalya Collective is our parent company, and under that we have Tandava Retreats, so our flagship center here in Mexico. We have another center opening in Costa Rica end of first quarter. So hopefully around March this year we'll be opening the doors, and this is going to be a much larger project. We'll have an ayahuasca program as well. We're teamed up with Hive out of Malta for this one. So we'll have DNA biopanels, IV drips, we'll have a medical license, we'll be able to work with addiction interruption, medication interruption, be bringing in a lot of masters in their own fields. As well as a lot of other really cool features that we'll announce over the next few months. And then we have our operations in Jamaica as well. We've classically been leading group retreats in Jamaica for probably about 6 to 7 years now. And we're going to keep those going, and we're going to kind of keep expanding out from there. And then we have 5. And then we also have Kaivalya Integral, which is our consulting and kind of advising firm. And this is for companies coming into the space that may not be as familiar with this whole process. We've got a huge team of integration specialists. We've got a huge team of well-resourced people who have been in the space for a long time and get it from the spiritual side to the scientific side. And so this, extends beyond 5MEO DMT. Our experiences with many medicines, we focus on 5MEO DMT here. But, for newer companies who are coming in, whether they're looking to do retreats, whether they're looking to do a telemed ketamine operation, anything like that where we can help formulate protocols. Protocols are really our specialty on how do we help a participant get the most out of this experience? How do we take these beautiful psychedelic experiences and really make them count, really turn them into real world change? And so that's Cavalli Integral. And then we also have Gnosis. Gnosis will be launching later this year, and this is our online platform for retreat participants. So I don't want to go too much into that because it's a bit of a surprise coming up in a few months. But it'll be a very useful online resource for retreat participants to access their own process before, during, and after the retreats.
Mm-hmm. Wow, it sounds so comprehensive. There's just like so much going on with you guys. I can tell you're just so busy running around all over the place all day, and it's great. You know, it's great to see that you are expanding in the way that you are. How has that process itself been for you?
It's been interesting. You know, my background is not in business. Neither of us are. But over the past 2 years, I've really found a deep passion for entrepreneurship and getting to learn the business space and reading every bloody book I can, every article I can, reaching out to everyone on LinkedIn who I respect and view as an amazing and integral business person. And I've had some amazing coaches. You know, the Conscious Fund they kind of took me under their wing last year, and they've really been helping guide on the business side. They're on our advisory board. Henri has just been an angel for us. And a lot of other people, you know, we've got a lot of really great kind of mentors in this space. And learning it, you know, of course, has been the roller coaster of an entrepreneur's life. It has been some of the most devastatingly insane, terrible moments I can experience, as well as some of the most exciting, just amazing, hopeful moments. And, but hey, you know, this is real life magic. Taking something that's only conceptual in the mind and creating actual systems and structures in the real world out of it. This is real world alchemy. This is the juice for us.
Yeah.
And so learning business has been really exciting, and getting the business up and running. You know, of course, the initial capital raise was extremely tumultuous and just, you know, trying to figure out how to speak those languages, trying to learn how to put together an actual business plan and really understand that balance between what I wanted and what was viable as a business plan, and just slowly chipping away and forming it and evolving it, and it's been extremely exciting. And now it's all come to a head and it's all happening. So it's been wonderful. It's been choppy, but it's been wonderful.
Yeah, it sounds like you know, there's a lot to come here, and I'm looking forward to kind of seeing how this grows for you, specifically with, I guess, the businesses that you're starting here. But I would like to know kind of two sides of this coin. What are you hoping to achieve with Cavalia Collective as a business, and what do you hope to see? And also, what do you hope to see just in regards to 5MEO and people's healing processes?
You want to get the second, I'll get the first?
Sure.
Right.
Yeah, okay. You go first.
Oh yes, okay. So with the business, so Kaivalya Collective, we would love, you know, and are shaping Kaivalya Collective to be a staple for integral use and practice and holistic practice of psychedelic medicines. That nice in the middle of the clinical and the spiritual. We would love to see and are creating Kaivalya Collective to be a staple in the psychedelic space where people know they can come to us for safe and effective use with psychedelic work. And knowing that they can be met where they're at, rather than being dragged into a specific realm. Knowing that they're going to be working with vetted practitioners and trainers who have done their work, who have done their training. As Victoria mentioned, our training process that we're offering is a year long. Most of the ones we're seeing right now there's ones on Instagram being advertised right now for a week, and it's terrifying. You can't,
I think it's 6 days.
You can't teach this stuff in 6 days. And you can't even teach how to keep someone safe in 6 days. Nonetheless, how to effectively guide them to and from this process. So, you know, we want, when people look at Kaivalya Collective and all of our subsidiaries, just knowing they are coming from a place of mastery, knowing that they're coming from a place of rigorous study. And we've put in our work for a long time. We've both been in this space for, you know, well over a decade, myself over 2 decades. And everyone we bring in, we're looking to bring in masters in their fields. We're not looking for jacks of all trade with 50 certifications. We're looking for masters in psychotherapy. We're looking for masters in yoga, meditation, different forms. People who can really bring their specific flavors, their lenses. And we use the term lenses because all of these different practices, whether psychotherapy, whether meditation, whether Taoism, are simply lenses through which we can attempt to view the ineffable. They give us geography. They give us footing. And we're here to bring in people who have really put those work in and have a lot to say about their lens and make it really applicable to the entheogenic process. So at the end of the day, Kaivalya Collective is a safe place to engage in safe, ethical, and effective psychedelic use.
Yes, I second that. Definitely.
Thank you.
Yeah. And what I would like to see in the community in 5MEO, it's very simple. I want to see people who are coming to do the work with this medicine getting the most out of their experiences.
Yeah.
And you know what that really takes is us as a community coming together and really holding each other accountable. Really just the community coming together to do the work, essentially. And yeah, I just want to see people get the most out of their experiences, because the world will really transform.
Yes, exactly. You know, this medicine, you know, on one side has the potential to really shift the way we as a species view ourselves within the world and feel about ourselves. You know, pretty much every human suffers from some bit of feelings of unworthiness or separation. And this is absolute medicine for that. We believe that, you know, no one acts out of pure malice just to act out of malice. We act out of, you know, we do certain things because we're hurting. And this is medicine for that. And on the other side, when used in improper settings and when not integrated, this creates super egos. Just like antibiotics with certain things, you know, creating super strains. Regular use and regular peak chasing with this medicine will create a super strain of ego where we've seen it happen, and it's scary.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I think the media has seen a lot of that too. So it's really nice to be able to kind of switch that narrative. You know, it's great to have you guys here. I really do appreciate us kind of unpacking this a little bit. You know, letting the audience know what's going on with 5-MeO. It's nothing to be feared. It's not weird, scary, wrong. You know, there's so much potential here, I think. For the healing of humanity, and we all are saying it in the psychedelic space, but you know, we really need to kind of account for all of these medicines in a similar way and not compartmentalize and decide one is better than the other.
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
Definitely. So yes, thanks again, you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah. If everybody wants to learn a little bit more about you, they want to check out some of your stuff online, where can they find you? Our
Tandava website is tandavaretreats.com. For Kaivalya, it's kaivaliacollective.com, and collective is spelled Kollectiv. It was before I started understanding marketing, and you know,
it's pretty cool.
It is cool. And then you can find us on LinkedIn, you can find us on Instagram, you can find us on Facebook, you can find us YouTube.
We're all over the place.
Yeah.
Thanks so much, guys. Appreciate you spending time with me today.
Likewise.